So it's exciting that people are really starting to understand the problems that could come about from issues like heavy metal toxicity, mold, all these other chemicals that can get in our body and cause all this havoc. And there's a wide variety of ways to detox these things, and what you would use to detox would depend on what you're trying to detox. But in this video, I'm going to share 4 mistakes that people make that can restrict the ability for any of these methods to work. You're going to want to hear this.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
So one of the biggest mistakes I see is people trying to get these heavy metals out of the body, or mold toxins, or some other type of chemical toxin out of the body while minerals in the system are low. So the body uses minerals for all kinds of functions. It uses it to send signals from the body to the brain and from the brain back to the body, and a wide variety of other functions. So when minerals in the system are low, the body will sometimes want to hold on to these other toxins to kind of use them in place of missing minerals. So if there's heavy metals in the body will want to hold on to those because it can use some of those heavy metals to kind of send signals through. So what we want to have happen is that we want to have enough minerals in the system that the body feels okay about letting go of all these toxins. Otherwise, you get like this tug of war where you're using these methods to pull these heavy metals or toxins out of the body, but the body's like, no, I'm going to pull the other way. I'm going to keep these in here. And a lot of times the body's going to win that tug of war. So what we want to do is make sure there's enough minerals in the system when we want to detox stuff. So an easy way to do this is just look at your blood pressure at least 2 hours after a meal, but it shouldn't be first thing in the morning while you're still fasted. It should be after a meal. And if that systolic number, which is the top number, is less than 112, that's a really strong indication that minerals are low in this system. And you'll want to take steps to lift those mineral levels so that whatever way that you're going to use to detox these toxins is going to be more effective. The body's going to feel better about letting go and allowing you to excrete these toxins when there's enough minerals in the system. So if you feel like your blood pressure may be low and maybe your mineral levels are low, check out our video on how to lift mineral levels, and we'll put a link to that video in the description below here. The second biggest mistake I see is people trying to detox all these horrible substances from their body, but they're trying to do it while bile is not flowing correctly. Bile is this soapy substance that's made in the liver and then it's stored in the gallbladder until we eat food. It helps us digest our food correctly. But for a wide variety of reasons, a person's bile can become too thick and sticky to flow correctly. And then it's not coming down and helping us digest our food the way that it should. Now, the big problem with this is that the liver takes this junk out of the body, it filters it out just like it's supposed to, and then it puts a lot of that filth in the bile. So when the bile comes down, it goes out the back door when we poop like a champion, and that's the main exit strategy for toxins that the body uses. So this is real problematic because if bile becomes too thick and sticky, it's not flowing down, and that means the junk that the liver filtered out, it doesn't go out the back door. So then all these toxins get reassimilated, and now the liver's got to filter them out all over again, and the liver gets overwhelmed. And this doesn't mean that the liver is responsible for removing all of these toxins. Some of them take other pathways, but when the liver's overwhelmed and the main exit strategy for toxins is not working correctly, now the whole system is getting overwhelmed. And now it's hard to really get rid of anything. So we really need to make sure that bile is flowing correctly so that the main detox pathway is functioning all day, every day. Now this can also be problematic because what happens when we eat food, it gets acidified in the stomach, and then once it leaves the stomach, that's when the bile is dropped down from the gallbladder to help neutralize these acids. The bile is very alkaline, and the acid product leaving the stomach is acid, so when those two substances hit each other, it creates like this sizzle. And this sizzle helps us really bust the food apart and get all the nutrients and minerals out of that food. So now we go back to that first problem where it's very hard to detoxify and get rid of these heavy metals and other toxins when there's not enough minerals in the system. And there can be a variety of causes for minerals to go low, but the most common cause is an inability to pull all the minerals out of the food that we're eating and bring those into the system. So now when bile's not flowing, the body can't detox correctly, but it also can't digest our food correctly and pull all the minerals out of our food. So when it comes to detoxing these heavy metals and other toxins, bile flow kind of is a big deal. So in the description below, we'll put a link to our video for 10 signs for poor bile flow so you can check that out and see, okay, am I maybe having a problem here and do I need to take steps to correct this? The third mistake that I see people making is not drinking enough pure, clean water. They're either not drinking enough water to help the body wash this junk out, or they're drinking like tap water that's filled with even more chemicals and heavy metals and all this other junk, and they're just putting more junk in the body. So the body really needs water to wash out junk. And it's really common for someone not to be drinking enough or to be drinking water that isn't actually clean and pure. We like to see people drink like reverse osmosis water, and maybe they put some minerals back in that water, or some type of really filtered water that's really going to clear out the stuff. More than like one of those Brita water filters is going to do with a little bit of charcoal. Those are not going to filter all the stuff out. You really want to get the junk out of the water that you're drinking so that you're bringing in water that can actually wash junk out instead of bring more junk in. Now, here's the caveat to that. If a person has low blood pressure, like we just talked about, they don't want to drink a ton of water because then they're just going to wash out the small amount of minerals that they have and make it even harder for their body to detox. So that person's really going to want to take steps to correct those low minerals before they increase the amount of water that they drink. And the fourth mistake we see is people using the wrong vitamin C. Now, most of these detoxing gurus that are going to tell you how to get rid of heavy metals and mold toxins and whatever other kind of substances you're trying to get rid of, most of those people understand that vitamin C is very important because the body uses vitamin C to bind to these toxins so that they can be removed from the body safely. And pretty much humans and guinea pigs and primates are the only mammals that don't make their own vitamin C. So we really need to bring it into the system. The problem is that the majority of the vitamin C sold to consumers out there is only a fraction of the vitamin C molecule. So the body has to pull all the other cofactors from the body in order to get it to work the way that vitamin C should. So all that junk that people sell is going to be good for about 2 weeks before the body runs out of cofactors. So to make sure that you're using a vitamin C that will actually work, check out our video on Stop These Vitamin C Mistakes, and that'll help you figure out, am I using the right vitamin C that's actually going to allow my body to use that vitamin C to bind to these toxins so they can go out the door in the right place. So check out that video and we'll help you figure out, are you using the right type of vitamin C and get the right stuff that'll help your body bind to those toxins so that they can be removed safely. So you can see that those are some really big mistakes, that it kind of doesn't matter what kind of steps, methods, or products, or ingredients, or foods that you're using to bind to these toxins. If any of these problems are restricting the body's ability to let go of those toxins, then the methods aren't really going to work. So for now, check out our video on 5 steps to improve bile flow so you can get some action in motion to make sure your bile is flowing well to at least get that going right. Let me know how it goes.